7's definitely on there. Right.
So top 3?
Top 3.
Is this in a specific order? Or
No, just top 3.
What do you guys think my top 3 would be?
7's one.
Yeah, 7 is definitely one. I'm definitely throwing Dragoon in there, like without a doubt. And then, frankly, I think Chrono Cross.
That'd be all 3.
Yeah. I was thinking, and see, I didn't like Chrono Cross. Like, I loved Chrono Trigger,
The
but I
story
tried.
was so amazing,
Well,
though.
I need to probably revisit it because I know they've done like remasters and stuff.
And
like
it was
that.
the only one that really I played that had a new game plus that didn't delete all your stuff, and you could play through the game again to get other
That's
characters.
definitely that wasn't something common back then at all.
No, and it made the bosses harder.
Now, and wasn't it Dragoon? All right, welcome back again here at the Midnight Release for episode 17 on this February 24th. Hope everybody's been having a good month so far as we're closing out the second month of the year. Today, we've got another good one for you.
We do, and we do have a guest. Like we said, it is just one.
We do. This is a trio today instead of a quad.
Yeah, it's a trio.
2 weeks worth of quad, and now we're to a trio.
So, and then the next couple will probably just go back to just me and Chase. We'll get a couple with that. And we'll go from there.
So, Howie, you want to say hi?
I'm back!
Howie is back. This is another kind of Howie-centric episode, which was a big reason for doing the trio. But today's episode, our story mode, is going to be Please Insert Disc 2. So, anyone who hears that and immediately kind of knows can tell we're probably going to be talking a little bit about JRPGs, which inevitably, we'd mentioned during our episode a couple weeks ago that a lot of JRPGs have that anime aesthetic, so that's why Howie is here. But there's other games that have 2 discs also.
And the majority of the 2 disc games are older PS1 games, PS2.
Yeah, they kept it a little bit on the 360, but
yeah, you had a couple, which we'll get into.
Right. Yeah, and then our side quest today, so because we have a guest, it is another co-op mode segment. Really going to be talking about some recent gaming-related news. Some of it is a little outdated, but we are going to talk through it. The Xbox event that was back in January, also some of the casting information around the God of War show, Tomb Raider, some of that recent news. And then we are also going to do Bonus Level, which is our segment where we do kind of talk about niche things. Today's going to be board games. So we're going to have a side quest to talk about board games. Other than that, I don't know if I missed anything for our press start, or are we good to go?
I think that's everything, man. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to get in the story mode.
All right.
Start talking about some games.
Yep, let's jump into our story mode. Please insert disc 2. All right, so I had to do some research preemptively for this one, and not that I usually remember to do research. A lot of times I end up saying, hey, I didn't research this, but the idea of multiple disc games technically goes back well before any of us were even born, because technically the first game with multiple discs goes back to Ultima 4, and it was multiple floppy disks. So when we think of multiple discs, we're talking CD-ROMs. This goes back old school, back in, I think it was Commodore 64, back in 86. So a long time ago. Yeah. But when we think of multiple disc games, we're thinking multiple CD-ROMs. And ironically enough, and Howie, you may have already known this, I don't know, but the first game of our kind of era that was multiple discs was, what do you think?
The very first one?
Yeah, the very first multiple disc
Now,
game.
this one, he's actually got an answer because he's actually looked this one up.
Yeah, I figured he would.
I see the answer, but I thought it would have been the game that you talked about a lot.
It's not. Is it Command and Conquer?
No. Final Fantasy VII was the first multiple disc. 3 discs.
I could have sworn something came out before
So
7.
So did I. When I went on that hunt, I could have sworn that something else would have come before. Now, Metal Gear was 98. Of course, 1998, so be sure to take a drink. But no, Final Fantasy VII was the first multi-disc game with 3 discs.
So...
I win again.
Yeah. So again, Howie's favorite game of all time, swooping in with a nice touch. And if I remember correctly, wasn't Final Fantasy VII the first 3D Final Fantasy? Technically,
it was like the.
I'm pretty sure it was the first 3D because
6
was
6 was still a 2D.
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy was the very first one because it had the not pixel characters, voxel. That's what the word they used was voxel characters.
That's right. They called it something. So the animation in 7 is kind of what jacked me up back in the day. It's the reason why I didn't really play a whole lot of 7 back in the day. But, I mean, I get that it was modernized, and I still loved the stationary backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
The blocky characters really threw me
The art backgrounds that you just walked across and the characters just got bigger or smaller.
Yes, exactly.
So whenever I think of that, though, like, whenever I think of, like, my first game that I can think of, it was 9. 9's the first one that I think of when I think of multi-disc.
Well, and see, for me...
But I didn't play 7, and that's, if you remember, Scott, that's like that little area where, like, we hung out a lot, and then you moved out, like, we stopped playing at Fairdale as much, you went out, and you moved down to Bullitt County, so we didn't hang out as much, and then...
Yeah.
Whenever we got back is whenever I started dealing with the other games.
I know I throw these little random tidbits out, but funny thing you said about those static like backgrounds.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary.
Because they did that in 8 and in 9.
Well, they had learned it from movies, I think, because Star Wars did that for some of their sets. They had a professional artist come in for like the giant room where old dude falls and it's like all white and everything, kind of like where Vader fights Luke. You know how it's like the big battery looking room?
Yep.
Apparently a professional artist came in and painted on acrylic, and that's how they got that static set to look so big. Because there was a trick with the camera.
Yeah, it was, I mean, my first Final Fantasy that I played was 8. And it did the same kind of aesthetic and all that. But I did go back and try and play 7. But the way the characters were designed jacked me up. But I can't use that as an excuse because there was a game that I liked that had the same animation. But, so Final Fantasy 7 had 3 discs. But then you just brought up 9. 9 had 4.
Yeah.
And 8 had 4.
9 has one of my... Vivi is one of the greatest characters in Final Fantasy. I love Vivi.
And I honestly, I feel that when you think Final Fantasy, and we talked about this last week during our Icons episode, Cloud Strife is obviously like the icon for Final Fantasy. But I would argue
I think overall, yes. But I think Titus in 10 is...
Well, I was going to say, I think Vivi. The idea of a black mage, I think, is probably like second to Cloud, personally.
Yeah, no, I think Titus is up there, man. Because when I think Final Fantasy, my first characters are... We take a villain, think of Sephiroth. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, forgot about that.
But then you go, like, Cloud, I think Titus, and then I think Vivi. Like, I'm going to be honest, it's been so long since I played 9, I couldn't give you the main character's name, but I know Vivi.
Zidane.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, Zidane.
Little monkey kid.
Little monkey kid. No, and the thing about those multi-disc games, like, the majority of them... Of the games that were multi-disc, not all, and we'll talk about some of them, but the majority very much were JRPG centric.
Yes.
Like Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, that's your staple 3 that were on PS1. They were all multi-disc. And then, of course, one of your core favorites, Legend of Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon, 4 discs.
Now, how many discs was that one?
4.
Was it 4 also?
Yeah. And the cool thing was, you had your characters, but each disc had like one of the main characters for that story, and you didn't really realize it until you got to that character, and then that disc almost focused on that person.
I just have a random question because I don't know why I'm thinking it's more. This isn't even a PS1 game, but the Dot Hack games, weren't they multiple discs or were they single?
Well, Dot Hacks
they
were
were
on
singles.
PS2. I think they were not only single. I think they were those blueback discs too.
Yeah, but the reason he's thinking they were multiple disc is because they came with an episode disc.
Yeah.
That's right.
They came with some of the anime to get you into the anime and figure out how the game.
Okay, because I remember opening them. I never played them, but I remember getting them off the shelf and opening them, and there'd be multiple discs.
It had like the little clip-in extra disc tray for the anime disc.
And if I remember correctly, from a trade-in perspective, like we could take the game without because there were people who came in and would want to buy it, and those Dot Hack games were always priced super high at GameStop.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to see that anime disc in there because they'll lose it.
And they would specifically ask, does it have the anime disc with it? And so I do remember that. If it didn't, people wouldn't buy it.
Yeah,
because I mean they were selling them for outrageous prices, but no, I mean you got the Final Fantasies, you got Legend of Dragoon. There were also like I think Xenogears was multiple discs, Star Ocean, Chrono Cross. Now I always feel really bad to admit this, but I technically didn't play Chrono Trigger, one of the best RPGs of all time that came out on the SNES. I actually didn't play it until they released it on the PS1. Because they did Final Fantasy Chronicles that had Final Fantasy 6, I think, or 4. comboed with Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
So even though, I mean, those are technically one disc games, but when you bought the Final Fantasy Chronicles, it came with 2 discs. And then my favorite JRPG of all time, we've talked about it on the pod already, but Lunar 2 were also multiple discs.
Yeah, those were multiple. But yeah, and if you can't remember, I'll take a picture of it and send you the case.
Of which one?
Of the Chrono Trigger and the combo with Final Fantasy.
Of course you have it. He has everything.
I remember that game. Hold on. I remember that.
Yeah.
It's a white case, and you've got the picture up at the top that's the Final Fantasy 6 or 4, and then at the bottom it's Chrono from Chrono Trigger, and that's the one Toriyama did.
The frog in the background and all that. It looked like a manga cover.
Yeah, and the thing...
Final Fantasy Chronicles, I know, so you wrote that on here.
Well, that's what I was just talking about. Final Fantasy Chronicles had Final Fantasy 6 and Chrono Trigger on it.
Okay.
We're not talking Crystal Chronicles on the GameCube.
Well, that's
when I didn't play that game.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think.
Yeah, Crystal
Chronicles. That's when I
Chronicles.
was looking at it whenever you said it. I was like,
No.
Yeah, because I never even played.
I guess
that.
I was confused because I thought y'all were talking about.
Crystal Chronicles was a really good game, though.
Well, we don't need to,
Oh no, we've already covered that before.
You've already given me 10 tons of shit for that. But no, the thing that I think I loved about, I mean, this isn't just dual disc games, but I think we've always kind of chuckled at the fact that when you would buy a game back in the day, the games came with instruction booklets, and you could flip through them, especially if you're on a car ride or looking at the back of the case or whatever. But it seems like that, they were bigger games, obviously, but I seem to remember those manuals for the dual disc games being just huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember coming home from GameStop, or Babbage's or wherever, and you crack it open and you could literally flip through it. And yeah, it had instructions, but those big RPGs
they were so
had,
big,
some
they tried to
lore.
give you a mini guide to
Yeah.
help you get through it.
I do remember seeing that in the cases.
It usually held information of if you got stuck in a very spotty area that they knew most people would get stuck in a story, you could go there for like a hint section of this is what you need to do to get past this to get through.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like some of them had it was almost like a mini walkthrough up to, I feel like Final Fantasy 8's had like a mini walkthrough up through where you got
it was a pocket guide
kind of thing. Yeah. And I just remember flipping through those, and again, it's just something that we don't have that anymore, at all. But the funny thing I can't help but mention in talking about dual disc games, I mentioned it during Be Kind Rewind, but Legend of Legaia.
Yeah.
That game, first off, they need a remake. The battle system in that is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. They need to bring it back. But that game had the same animation style as Final Fantasy VII. That's where I said my issue with the blocky graphics of 7. Yeah, the voxel stuff isn't valid. But I will not forget, and I've talked about it in episode 6, when I got Legend of Legaia, and it was in the same packaging as a dual disc game.
Yeah.
But it only had one disc because the first compartment had the disc, and then the second compartment was flat. But it was one of those that had a super thick book that walked you through the first time the mist attacked.
Yeah.
But it stressed me out. I cried. I was so upset, thinking I didn't get both my discs. I was just so salty about it.
It confused a lot of people because you open it up, that book comes out, and there's a spot for a disc, and you're like, was this supposed to have something or not?
Well, and I remember with Final Fantasy VIII, I never finished Final Fantasy VIII for years. And the reason why...
Who's the main character, Nate?
8 Squall.
Squall.
Okay,
With
so
the
that's
gun,
what I'm thinking of.
With the gunblade, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
My original copy of Final Fantasy VIII, I got stuck somewhere, and then I didn't go back to it for a while. Every copy I ever bought of Final Fantasy VIII, when I get to the end of the third disc, every time I would put the fourth disc in, my save file was corrupted. It wouldn't load. Every time. So I didn't beat Final Fantasy VIII until they did the remaster on PS3. Where it had the rewind and fast forward stuff and all that.
Yeah.
But it was because every time, and I bought and traded and did all that stuff, and it was a known issue. Apparently, it had something to do with just loading up from the save. Apparently, it said that it actually wasn't the fourth disc that was corrupted; it was actually the third. But it was something really squirrely.
Speaking of that, feature real quick, Joe. Though, so you remember. Or at the beginning of this year, one of the resolutions was I wanted to play through a couple games. I made a comment about wanting to play through Majora's Mask and stuff like that. Majora's Mask has a rewind feature when you're playing on the Switch.
Oh yes,
so it's
the
like a 10
Switch
second
Online.
rewind. So if you do something, you just be like, oh, hang on a second.
Yeah, the Switch Online. That's the thing. All those games.
You can do it on the Portal too. The Portal has that.
Yes, yeah, those features that they've done with those remasters and stuff. I don't have the same patience level that I did back in the day, so I totally would like use those. But and like in talking about JRPGs and multi-disc, like I'd be remiss to not ask, like if you have to pick your top 3 PS1 JRPGs, they're all going to be multi-disc. There's no doubt, probably.
He's gonna pick Final Fantasy.
Well, no, Dragoon's definitely in there. But if you
He just went Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but no,
He's just
a whole lot of F's. But no, if you have to pick your top 3 PS1 JRPGs, like, what are you going with? Like, I feel like I know 2 of the 3.
7's definitely on there, right?
So top 3.
Top 3.
Is this in a specific
Okay.
order? Or
So-
No, just top
Just
3.
your top 3 in
What
general.
do you guys think my top 3 would be?
7's one.
Yeah, 7 is definitely one. I'm definitely throwing Dragoon in there, like, without a doubt. And then, frankly, I think Chrono Cross.
That'd be all 3.
Yeah. I was thinking, and see, I didn't like Chrono Cross. Like, I loved Chrono Trigger,
The
but I
story
tried.
was so amazing,
Well,
though.
I need to probably revisit it because I know they've done like remasters and stuff.
And
like
it was
that.
the only one that really I played that had a new game plus that didn't delete all your stuff, and you could play through the game again to get other
That's
characters.
definitely That wasn't something common back
No.
then at all.
No, and it made the bosses harder.
Now, and wasn't it Dragoon that had the? Because I feel like Legend of Dragoon has come back into the conversation because of Expedition 33. Didn't Dragoon have that parry mechanic similar to what
Yeah.
Expedition did?
Yeah.
So, just looking at this too, like I was thinking about this. Like I know right now we're talking about JRPG centric for the most part in like PS1. There was quite a few games, if I remember right, on the PS2 that were still multiple disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they
Like they're not on here. Like I know. Like,
Now,
we were talking about. We were
there's
talking
a
about modern, and
game-
we're talking about like the new ones.
There's a
But, like,
game that was one disc on PS2 that I will claim to this day to be an infinite disc game.
What game is that?
Monster Rancher.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was the one based on the anime, right?
Yeah. Well, because on Monster Rancher, it was like one of those, you get a monster, you train it up, you can go battle it and stuff. But that game specifically is you could take the disc out, put in another disc, a DVD, a CD, whatever. It would figure out what it wanted to write on it, and then you put your game disc back in, and it would give you a random
generate
monster.
a random. I do remember that.
So
That's
you
a
would,
really
but if you put
interesting
that same
mechanic.
disc in, it would give you the same monster. So you'd run around the house picking up all your mom's video DVDs and stuff,
like old DVDs
or
like,
any kind of disc that was around, and
Well-
you would put it in there.
And you know, it's funny because you're right. I did completely skip over PS2, so I'll be curious because I see
Well,
you googling.
No,
Like,
I'm not googling. I'm looking at the list. But I was gonna say too. Like I brought it up before. RE4. I specifically remember that game on the GameCube being multiple discs.
It was multiple discs
Yeah.
on the GameCube.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
yeah, RE4 because that's where I played.
Because the discs were so small.
Yes,
Yes.
like the Twin
So-
Snakes was, but it was also on PS1. But I forgot RE4 was 2 discs.
RE4 was 2 discs on.
Because one of my other favorite 2-disc games, if you go back to the PS1, was Parasite Eve.
Yeah, that's the thing. There was a lot of non-JRPG. I mean, Parasite Eve. Now you could argue it's not a traditional JRPG, but I think SquareSoft still did it.
Yeah, and Resident Evil was multi-disc.
Resident Evil. Now, wasn't Resident Evil 2 multiple discs though? Because
That was the only one. Resident Evil 1 wasn't. Resident Evil 2
but
was.
wasn't 2 discs because you had Leon and you had Claire. That was the reason
Well,
behind
it was the 2 different stories, yeah, because you could play through. Because
Right.
once you got through one part, and the weird part is about that game, the director's cut. I learned as you play through, you do so much as Claire, and then when it gets to Leon's part, you have to put the other disc in to play his story, and then it tells you to go back to disc 1 to start doing it. So you're literally story beating, but you got to keep
You're going
switching the
back and
disc
forth.
around.
Okay, that's-
So when did dual disc games really stop? I mean, obviously we have the modern era, and we'll get into that for
Yeah.
But there wasn't a ton that I can think of on the PS2, right?
No,
like I know there was some. That's why I brought it
really.
up. But there wasn't what it was like for like PS1, like
well, and
there was a
that's-
lot of
yeah,
games
because
that were like
PS1 we talked about
because the
JRPGs,
disc development and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Right.
If
Well,
the
they were
game was so long.
Well, and they were CD-ROMs instead of DVD-ROMs, which they got to on the PS2.
Yeah.
PS1 still had, like we said, Resident Evil. I can't forget about Metal Gear. Metal Gear was 2 discs.
Yeah.
And
Metal Gear was
Metal
2
Gear,
discs.
I will say, of every multi-disc game I ever played, Metal Gear was the only one that like did something funny with the disc change. Like
Yeah.
later. Like,
Yeah.
The game itself, like when it actually happened, you just put in disc 2 like everything else and it was fine. But in Metal Gear Solid 4, when you go back to Shadow Moses, and you go to the exact area where in the game you had to change the disc. Otacon calls you in Metal Gear Solid 4 and is like, Snake, we've got to change the disc. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, no, we don't. We have a multi-layer Blu-ray CD. This all fits on one disc. It was really funny.
living a joke
Yeah,
that only certain
but
people
Metal
would
Gear
get.
was also dual disc. Command and Conquer was dual disc because it
Yeah.
had where you fight as the Allies or as the Axes. And then you said Parasite Eve, but also like Siphon Filter, that game Fear Effect. I remember that style being really weird.
Arc the Lad.
Arc the Lad, well, that's JRPG.
Yeah, it's JRPG.
Even Gran Turismo.
Driver 2.
Driver 2 did have multiple discs. Now, which one's on PS2? Because I know that there were several.
There was a few, but it kind of slips my mind. You'd almost have to have that
Did you
list.
pull the list up of PS2 games that were multi-disc at all? Because
No, I just looked up certain ones that I thought were.
Because because you had multi-disc, and then like you said, it went from CD-ROM to DVD-ROM, and then it cut out once Blu-ray came, and you could fit everything you ever wanted on it.
Because my brain did not even.
Xenosaga episodes 2 and 3 used 2 discs.
Okay, so PS2 Xenosaga games had multiple discs. That makes sense.
No,
Star
okay,
Ocean.
yeah, I'm thinking of the first one. Yeah, once you get to the second and third,
I feel
they
on
had to.
PS2 the only ones are probably JRPG centric.
It's something that's going to have a massive story.
That's definitely what happened when we got to 360. Because Xenosaga, that's JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
Which
So here's a couple. This one says Star Ocean, Till the End of Time, Shadow Hearts, Covenant.
Okay, now I remember
Shadow
Star Ocean
Hearts,
because they had that flippable thing that
And this
slipped
is
in.
Onimusha Dawn of Dreams was multi-disc.
now that's interesting. Now I'd have to dig into that one a little more. I feel like it had like an alternate mode, is why it had 2 discs.
Well, and this specifically says that I have that. It says that are multi-disc in order to continue the story.
That's interesting. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. You asked when the multi-disc stuff stopped. I mean, there's some modern games with multi-discs, but it's very heavily based on data. But the 360 had still DVD-ROM, where PlayStation went to Blu-ray. And really on 360, they had games that had to have multiple discs for the purposes of loading, but like the Lost Odyssey, which that is such a criminally underrated RPG.
Yeah.
Blue Dragon, like those are JRPGs that were exclusive to the 360.
Yeah.
Which I will
Blue
say
Dragon
is
was
very,
my first big get on the 360.
And I looked the other day. You can't get those unless I missed it. You can't get those digital through Xbox. Like I legitimately was thinking about buying them.
They don't like bringing back the old stuff on their
which
digital.
is super irritating. But those were multi-disc on the 360 era. But really, after the 360 era, every time that they would go to multiple discs of any capacity, it was always for like data purposes.
Yep.
Like Mass Effect had them.
You had the data disc that you would install first, or whatever, and then you would play the
you had
actual
your
game.
data disc and then play
The
disc.
RDR2 had it.
Red Dead did it. LA Noire.
Was LA Noire though? That was a Switch disc though, wasn't it? I
No.
can't remember.
No, LA Noire had 3 DVDs on Xbox. And the thing is, these games that came out on PlayStation, so like Wolfenstein.
They were because they were Blu-ray. They were single.
Yeah, but Wolfenstein and LA Noire, they actually only had 1 disc on PlayStation because of Blu-ray.
Right.
But on the Xbox, they had multiple. Yeah. But you did have some that got so massive that even on, like, I think RDR2 on Xbox, I think it had 3 discs. I know it had 2 on PlayStation, like 2 Blu-ray discs.
Yeah, because
I do remember that because I remember whenever when that game was out. I think it already came out when I started working there. I can't remember when it actually released. But I remember gutting it the first time and seeing the multiple discs, and I was like, I think PlayStation games were supposed to have multiple discs.
Yeah,
because I'm fairly certain Remake did that too.
Because that was the big thing about it. Was
they had a download disc.
Well, but that was the big thing about it was they're Blu-ray discs. We don't have to do that.
Exactly.
And then they had to do it.
Cyberpunk, they did that too.
Plus, the Blu-ray discs, they got that whole scratch-resistant thing, so it was like harder to scratch on.
Yeah,
well, they couldn't double print them or
and
something
then
like that.
Xbox had to combat that. Where like, oh, our disc gets scratched, so we're gonna put this in where you can download the game to it, so it'll read through the scratches if it's still brand new.
And I will say that transition from CD DVD to Blu-ray, like I remember working at GameStop and some of the PS1, PS2 games, 360 games that would come in, I mean, you would think people were using these for frisbees.
Yeah.
With how scratched they were. And
It's crazy
in GameStop, I think, from what I understand, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I heard that they do buff stuff now. Maybe
They do. They can get it out now.
But like back then, we didn't have like a formal
no.
way. Like if people asked us to, and they bought the solution and stuff, like we would.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget with Blu-rays. I mean, it was almost not worth checking the back because they were always pristine. If I ever saw a scratched
I would
Blu-ray,
flip it real quick and that's it.
Oh.
It was. You could tell it was people that didn't take care of their.
You had to question what they did to that disc.
yes, with a Blu-ray, I'm like, what in the world did you do? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Because you have to try to scratch that. Like, you have to get like a screwdriver and go at it.
It is something that it was. I will say it was. Nowadays, people would obviously very much dislike it, and with digital games, like we've talked about before, you don't see it as much. That's another thing.
no, I mean, and that's,
But there was when you're playing those games, and it's like, oh wait, I beat a disc. Like it was something like, okay, cool. Now I'm an accomplishment. I'm going to the next.
it
one.
was
Hey, bro, what disc you on?
yeah, it was a level of progression. And we talked in an episode a while ago, with Game Facts and Cheat CC and Game Revolution. Like when I was looking up walkthroughs, it made it really easy. If I knew I'd been playing on disc 2 for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, I wouldn't have to spend all day scrolling to figure out where I was in the game.
Yeah.
I could just go right to because they always had the walkthrough broken down by disc.
By disc.
So I could go to disc 2 and figure out where I was.
Right.
And the other thing about
That's cool though, because I don't remember. Because of course I didn't play a lot of single player games right there, like we've referenced times on here. That's something I didn't know.
I'm still loading you up with a list. You're trying to do
I've
all
started
these
beating
single
them.
player. We've got such a laundry list, and then my buddy Brian, I've mentioned him on the podcast several times. He is now getting into JRPGs, and that's what's so funny too. The the Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, and Final Fantasy 9. Not the remake or rebirth, but the little remaster that they did that's on Steam, on Xbox, on Switch.
Yeah. The one you can speed up, stop, play.
What's hysterical is you look at the size of those, and they're only like 2 to 3 gig.
Yeah. Like, that's with them being updated on the graphics.
That's with them being updated on the graphics, having the rewind and fast forward features and 9,000 damage, and everything, and it's only a couple of gig, and you think that we had to have 4 discs for that.
Yeah.
Where now, I mean, dude, I installed, what was it? I think, Austin, you were talking about Star Wars Battlefront or something, that I was going to install it. It's like 90 gig to install Star Wars Battlefront. And I'm like, what in the world?
Well, the crazy comparison I always thought about is because, like, they were back on PlayStation 1, it was CD discs. So you got to think, like the LimeWire episode y'all did, how many songs could you fit on a CD?
That's right.
So you got to think, that's how many.
You could only put, maybe 15 or 16.
So you got to think, the game that you played, that much time you spent is worth 15 songs.
And I mean, it's just, and the thing about those games, there's so many people who have gone out of their way. My buddy Brian is one prime example, but there's so many people who have gone out of their way to avoid JRPGs because of turn-based combat.
Yeah.
And
I love turn-based, though.
Oh, dude. Well, and I love that. I think Expedition has put it back on the forefront, personally.
Oh, yeah, the turn-based.
Yeah, I think it definitely played
even
a role
like your turn-based games
in mainstreaming it.
Well, your turn-based games that everyone knows about, like thinks about. When I say turn-based, everybody goes straight to Final Fantasy
every time.
But like, that I can remember, and when they kind of got away from that in Final Fantasy, the only games that I can think of that still did turn-based a little bit were the South Park games.
Yeah, when we were talking about turn-based,
Talking
about the Stick of Truth,
and
we were talking about
the Fractured Butthole.
The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah, we were talking about like recommendations from my buddy Brian for
Oh,
turn-based,
yeah.
and he said South Park, and I was like, South Park. Oh, it is turn-based.
Because South Park's like watching an episode.
Yes, but it was. I mean, you're right. Everyone thinks of Final Fantasy, but there were so many other. I mean, you said Legend Dragoon and Chrono Cross. I'm always going to say Lunar 2. I did love Xenogears. I tried. It's funny you said the Xenosaga games on PS2 were multi-disc. Xenogears on PS1 was outstanding. I tried those Xenosaga games repeatedly, and I don't even think they're connected, like, at all. Like, the story, the art style, which I understand, PS1 to PS2, but I could never get into any of the Xenosaga games.
It's not really that they're not connected. It's more like the Gundam kind of sense.
Yeah, okay.
Where, like, every Gundam's connected, but it's, like, really weird.
Because what's it called on the Switch? It's not Xenosaga. It's not Xenogears.
Xenoblade?
No, it's
No, it's not
Xeno something
Xenoblade.
Chronicles on the Switch. I cannot remember what the title of it is, but apparently they are amazing. I haven't played them.
I'd have to look it back
Yeah,
up.
I'll have to Google what it's called, but there's several of them. They're still like 60 or 70 bucks.
There was a
piece.
turn-based game that my grandmother got me for Christmas when I was really young, because she would always get me games, and it was on PS2. I believe it's called Darkness Hearts. It was a turn-based, but man, it was like super dark and gritty, like a turn-based Resident Evil.
Oh, Lord.
You'd summon spirits and stuff, and they'd fight for you.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. I think it was it Final Fantasy 12 that stopped? Is that when they stopped turn-based?
Final Fantasy.
13 was
Technically,
turn-based.
I wouldn't
13
say
was
that's when
turn-based?
Was it not?
I wouldn't even say that's when they stopped it, because
And I'm not criticizing them for it. I'm just in general.
because Crisis Core on the PSP was
Right.
the very first action base like it is now.
Yeah.
That was the first one where you
Yeah,
run
because I
around
remember that.
and
Because I
fight.
remember watching you play that.
I was so confused,
making-
remember?
yeah.
Because I was like, what is this?
When you first got it, I remember being confused. You're
That's
like,
the
this
one
isn't Final
that's the one you
Fantasy.
play as
Yeah.
Zack, right?
Yeah, is that fair?
But if I remember right, 13 and 13-2 were both turn-based.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Or,
That's the one with Lightning.
Lightning. Yeah, Lightnings were turn-based, yeah. But it had
But again,
to where
those were
like
ones
the
that I
mechanics
watched you
were
play.
way different.
Right. I do remember the mechanics being really weird.
But it was
for
still
those games.
turn-based, which is a different style of turn-based.
12 did a really weird combat. And you know what? I think Final Fantasy 12 was also multiple discs.
What was the original? Was 11 the original online one?
Yeah. 11 was the original online.
What was it? It's not 15.
No, 15 was with
The-
Noctis.
That's what I'm thinking of, Noctis. That's when they started getting heavy into the action
Yes.
combat.
Yes.
I played a lot of 15. I didn't beat 15, but I did. I remember
All
playing
the other
halfway
ones
through
were
15.
turn-based.
Yeah.
They just changed the mechanics so
But
much it was
but
weird.
like I want to play 16 because of how much you were talking about. how good it was.
16, and for how much you love Game of Thrones, like, literally the
16
creator
is so
had
good.
the entire team watch Game of Thrones and said, this is what we're going for. And that's the plot. Like, the plot is very heavily inspired by Game of Thrones.
The way they did the summons in that one,
Oh my
that is
gosh.
wild.
They were so gorgeous. And you know, that's the thing about, you know, all the remakes and all that. Now, look, I understand 7 is your jam, and they're remaking it. We've got Remake, we've got Rebirth. We're going to have whatever.
Resurgence.
Yeah, have they named it already?
I think so, yeah.
That would
'cause-
actually make sense. Resurgence would make sense. And I find it funny that the game was 3 discs. They're making 3 games because obviously the plot is not covering the same ground. Obviously.
That's what. And I listened to one of the episodes when you two like touched on that subject, and he was like,
I
"So
know,
is it
this
like
is your
this?"
jam.
Well,
This
no,
is-
but Austin said, "Is the remake literally just
Oh, yeah,
an
the
actual
story.
remake?" Or and then you were trying to explain the story, and you were like, "I gotta get Howie on here." He
Yeah, because it is the same, but it's not, right? It's like
but
an
it's-
alternate timeline.
But that's
or
the thing.
something.
So everybody thought when they were making that game that it was going to be a remake, shot for shot, just updated graphics, better combat. It's not. The fans, when they started playing it, because I even had to call you and explain it because you were asking
after
about
I
it. 'cause you were
finished,
like, I don't
I
remember
was
that.
very confused. Yeah.
So what it
at the end
is-
of Remake because I haven't beat Rebirth.
What it is, Austin, is like so.
Don't spoil Rebirth for me because I haven't finished it yet.
I'm not. I'm just going to give him like the synopsis
Yeah.
of the first game because I'm sure everybody's played that by now.
Yep.
So in Final Fantasy VII, you know, they go fight Sephiroth and all that. They win, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's happy, right? So in this one, the story restarts and you're like, well, what's going on? Everything's kind of playing out the same. Cloud's going around meeting everybody, this and that. Well, then you start to find out that the timeline is weird. You're like, this didn't happen in that. What's this black fog messing this up? Now everything's different. Why is this different? So Sephiroth is technically somehow able to, he went back and got into the life stream, and he is affecting time to change it to how he wanted it to be. So he's messing with the story. So it's a continuation, but it's like a time jump of like, this was going to happen, but now he went and tweaked it, and now Cloud's like, well, what the hell?
And
So
and
it's
that's
a continuation.
And that's where, like, when like at first, when it finally came out, I mean, that tech demo came out on the PS3.
Yeah.
This remake didn't come out until the PS4, right? Or PS5, maybe? No, PS4 is when the
No,
recent
it was coming out on PS4.
yeah.
But it released.
But
on
the
PS5.
tech demo was on the PS3, and we had to wait 15 years or however long it was. And like that's what I thought too. I thought it was gonna be a frame for frame. I guess I'm not as salty that they took so damn long because it is kind of a different game. That's why when we talked about it, I was like, it's kind of different, but I got to ask Howie because I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
because I remember having to call you as soon as I finished reading.
It's completely different the way they did it because in the original, everybody in Avalanche kicks the bucket.
Right.
In this one, it makes it seem like they kick the bucket.
Right.
But they don't really make it that's what happened.
That's what threw me off. And that's the thing. I hope and pray that there's other OG games like that get the remake treatment.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the thing is, I would be completely okay, and I mentioned this a couple episodes back. Now, there was a hot take. There was people that commented about my thoughts on this, but that if they took Final Fantasy VII and they remade it with the graphics they have, but it was a frame-for-frame, like turn-based and everything, it would have still been insanely popular, but I feel like it would have been solely fan service and like super niche. I think by them doing the action combat, it opened it up. But I would be okay if you do an 8 and a 9 remake and just pump up the graphics and keep all the mechanics. I would be okay with that. I don't think they need to, for how long it's taken them to do 7, I don't know if they'll ever tackle any of their other big games because of how labor intensive it's been.
Yeah, but you could almost, like, in a way, with as much time as they took, you could make almost like a simple kind of mode like that instead of you running around and you're in your enemy or taking turns. Because in Final Fantasy VII, it wasn't a complete turn base. Like, yeah, you took your turns, but if you waited and that timer ran out, it skipped you.
That's true. Yeah, it had
I do remember that.
Yeah, so you could almost do that, and instead of letting everybody run around and the bosses running around and all that, plant them. They've got their team. Let them pick their attacks. They do it, and it could be turned. Because look at Halo. People were pissed off that Halo was all changed in this, but then you had a button in the settings that you could go and turn on, and it made the graphics shitty. And like old Halo.
With the Master Chief Collection.
You could do the original or the updated.
I thought that the remakes where they do that, I think are really, really cool.
Yeah, because you get your nostalgia or you get your new stuff.
Yeah, with the Shredder's Revenge and stuff where you can add the filters. Well, and the other thing that when you were talking about multi-disc games, I did not think about looking up GameCube. And you brought up RE4, which I forgot about. Metal Gear, of course, Twin Snakes was multi-disc. But one of my favorite JRPGs, Tales of Symphonia, was also, it was either 2 or 4 discs on GameCube. But Tales of Symphonia, and I think you've told me all the Tales games do this, but I haven't played that many of them, where they have the random encounters and all that like we're used to seeing, but you actually control them during the fight.
Yeah.
Like you just run around and you hit.
Is that not the one that was on... Vesperia is the one that came out on 360.
Vesperia was on 360.
And it got an anime.
Yeah, Vesperia got an anime. It was on 360.
Oh, dude, I didn't realize how many double disc games there were on the GameCube.
Yeah, well, and that kind of makes sense.
It's because the discs were so small, though. That was the problem with the GameCube.
Yeah, and
like, this is 2 disc collections, but like there's RE4. There's a Lord of the Rings game.
Anything that was a big game.
Yeah, and that makes sense with those smaller proprietary discs.
What game were you just talking about?
Tales of Symphonia.
Tales of Symphonia.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus was apparently multiple discs.
Now that one was multiple discs, if I remember, because it had 2 games on it, if I remember correctly.
And there was 2 Battle Nexus and then 3 Mutant Nightmare that were both multiple discs. Apparently.
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense. I didn't even think about checking for them, but you know what's funny? For some reason, talking about GameCube games, do you all remember how hard, like PS2 cases had the button that you press, disc pop out?
GameCube didn't have that.
GameCube, man, getting those discs out was...
You felt like you were about to break the game.
Dude, I think I did break a couple of them, to be completely honest. Because the PS2 ones were perfect. Like, you just press the button, and it popped right up.
Yeah.
You know, but...
Yeah, it was the GameCube ones. I made sure that I got all my fingers in like a claw, and I went down around the game. I made sure I had perfect pressure, and I just pulled up until it went...
Yeah,
and I was like, "Ugh."
Man, that made me nervous.
Overall, like,
they were a lot stronger though because they were so small.
That
like the disc was so close to where it connected.
So, but overall, I think most of the story mode. I mean, we're wrapping it up here now, but like for the most part, it's kind of. I mean, it's crazy how different it is now, but it's because just as we talk about, technology changes, but everyone remembers. Like, I didn't play a lot of them, but I remember I told you about it. I may have said it on the podcast. I can't remember. But RE4, when I played it at my cousin's house, I didn't have a memory card, and I played through. I was on disc 2, like halfway through disc 2 by the time the day ended.
Yeah. You know, and that's so funny. I forgot all about. I can't believe that we've never discussed the idea of memory cards. Like that is another thing about how things have been different. But again, that's one of the things that sucked for me with Final Fantasy VIII because I had my stuff saved, but it was always corrupted.
One of, I believe it was 2.5. You were talking whenever you were
Tim?
To Tim, yeah, he made that comment about it.
Man.
No, it wasn't Tim.
Memory
It was,
cards were rough.
Oh, yeah, it was Morgan. Gotcha.
Morgan, Morgan, and he made the comment. He was like, "Yeah, I was playing these and I didn't have a memory card." So,
yep, just had to go straight through.
Memory cards would upset you too because you'd be going to play with your friends, and then you get the disc, you get the console, anything you got to take with you, and then you look in there and forget the memory card.
Forget your memory card.
Remember they had the little spot on them, so you could put a memory card at the top of them.
Yep,
dude, I remember. Scott had like 9 memory cards.
Still got them,
and they were listed. But they were listed for like certain things. Like the red one, he had a red one that was Final Fantasy.
I bet they still are.
Like the red one was Final Fantasy. He had a specific memory card that we had to put in when he wanted to play Final Fantasy X. It had a specific memory card. There was one that was like for just miscellaneous games.
Well,
do you know what they're setting in right now?
Probably like those USB holders or something.
It's a dual disc case, like a multi-disc case that each one a flap holds 4 memory cards.
You're gonna have to send us a picture of that. You know what's funny? Talking about space, I very distinctly remember the black PS2 memory card, and it had how much space is on it. Do y'all remember how much space it was on a PS2 memory card?
It was 32 megabytes, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
128
megabytes. 8 megabytes.
Yeah, it was 8.
Oh, you're talking about like the
base
original
space,
PS2. Like you go up there.
because the first one that ever came out was 8.
And you could save 20 games on there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
8 megabytes.
The icons were always so cool.
Oh, dude, I love the little icons.
The best part was, like, if you were afraid one was going to get corrupted, it's like a PC nowadays. You'd go get another $10 one, slide it in there, copy everything. Then you'd have a spare.
Well, that's what if I remember right, you had one. There was like 2 or 3 of them because you had one that did that, but you had like 3 that had your Final Fantasy X saves on it.
Yeah.
And so if one broke, he had the other one.
Yeah, I had multiple saves, and then you had they were trying to be more cost effective for people, so they had the one that was a little thicker, looked like a little vibrator pack, or
yeah, that's right.
And you click a button, and it would switch to another.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah,
yep.
And then you'd be mad because you thought your stuff got deleted, and you're like, oh wait, I clicked the button.
Well, and look, there's
back.
no way to talk about memory cards with multi-disc games without reminding ourselves about the Psycho Mantis fight in Metal Gear, where you read your memory card. Oh, so you like to play Castlevania, and that was nuts, man.
I didn't know that.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah, he would talk smack to you.
Yeah,
so he was the original Deadpool. Or not original, but he was the Metal Gear Solid Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, he was talking right to you, not your character.
Nuts. Now, I think it got more sophisticated on the Twin Snakes. I think it actually, I think PS1, it was programmed to say certain things.
Probably.
But I think GameCube, it actually would look at your save file or your memory card, and then it would rattle off whatever. I think they recorded every game's line at the time.
Oh.
I think. I could be mistaken. But no, the thing is, the multi-disc games, it's primarily JRPGs without a doubt. But the fact that games that were 2, 3, 4 discs long now could literally fit on our phones without any kind of issue. Like, I've played Final Fantasy 8.
I've got Final Fantasy 7 on my phone.
I've got Final Fantasy 9 on my phone. It's just insane. So that's going to kind of wrap us up for our story mode today of Please Insert Disc 2. Let's go ahead and jump into our first side quest, which is going to be a co-op mode. So, co-op mode today, really the whole purpose is just to kind of talk about together collectively some of the recent gaming news. Now, some of this is older news. The Xbox event came out on January 22nd, and so about a month ago or so. But by now, we've all probably had a chance to review or hear about the information as it relates to Forza, as it relates to Fable.
Man, Fable.
And
dude, Fable looks so good.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to tell you right now, Xbox cooked with that showcase. I was so excited when they did the Forza thing. I immediately sent Howie the picture with the car with the Gundam. Yes.
That's what I was going to say. I said, let's go ahead and let Howie get excited about that real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact it's in Japan, I don't know why I didn't think they were obviously going to do that.
Oh, there's so much
that
cool
trailer surprised me with that.
Oh,
no,
really?
dude, speaking of, Fable's the one that got me, dude. I watched some stuff. I was watching Fable and watching the everything they're doing with it. That
Fable has me so excited.
Incredible.
Morgan and I talked about it a lot in 2.5, and when we talked about our during Game Awards, our most anticipated, I said Wolverine. Man, I'm thinking Fable now. like outside of GTA, I'm thinking Fable, like hardcore.
Game looks,
At this
dude,
second
when they were
right
like-
now, Fable's my most anticipated.
Dude, when they were like, hey, look, we got you can buy a house, and I'm like, oh wait, I remember that was the first one. There's like, then you can buy another house.
And another
Then
house.
buy another, and then you can buy the whole town.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
How you could like become a slumlord, basically.
I'm like-
And then the jobs where you can hire people to work in your shop. But I like the one guy, he was like, oh yeah, everybody has an actual life. You could literally get up, follow them around all day, watch what they do, and it will be completely different. I was like, man.
yeah,
About
this-
time somebody
this
did
game-
that.
1,000 unique NPCs. I'm surprised what didn't get more attention with everyone harping on AI and all that. They did say that it's 1,000 unique and it was all voice recorded
Yeah.
and all that. I'm surprised they didn't get more praise for that, but it blew me away. Like the whole concept that you start out as a kid, you go on an adventure like Hobbit style, or something, and you
Yeah.
become an adult. You can get
Well-
married, you can have kids. Like it's gonna be super
and
robust.
then it's not even just
Yeah.
that. Like, I looked at I will say the only thing that.
And day one Game Pass.
Yeah, that's
Hey.
that's something as well. Now I will probably, I will definitely. It kind of makes me sad because that's where I'm going to want to play that, and I can't play it.
Oh yeah.
So, now, but the one thing that I wish they would have. Do you remember original Fable? If you were good, you got a little halo over your head.
Oh yeah.
And if you're
And
bad, you had the
bad,
hordes.
you had the hordes.
That was
I'm-
the funny thing, how they talked about they're getting away from that because they don't want them to judge you based off your appearance.
Yeah.
And
But
'cause
yet they still,
do you
like-
remember the collector's edition of that, where if you wanted to be completely random, it came with a devil and an angel coin that you could flip for your
Yeah.
decisions?
I do remember that.
That thing was
So-
awesome. I did a whole playthrough of just
but
flipping
that's
that coin.
But that's another take. Like it's like, okay, we don't want you to be judged by your because everything you do is not just good and bad. It's like
Yeah.
different people are going to perceive the things you do differently. Like
Yeah,
it's insane.
and it's just like real life because I mean, you got stuff that happens every day,
Oh,
and
yeah.
certain people perceive it as like, and some people are like, that's completely evil.
No, I usually don't like Xbox events. I didn't even watch it live. Like I'm not that hyped about Xbox stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard about that Fable was
And then you wanted
confirmed,
to watch it, and you're like, oh.
and I went and watched all
You're
the
like,
Forza
okay,
stuff.
change of plan.
Yep, I went and watched all the Forza stuff, all the Fable stuff. I was blown away.
Yeah.
And the fact that now Forza comes out like in May, so only in a couple months. Now it's not launching day one on PlayStation. It is day one Game Pass. But Fable is launching on Xbox and PlayStation the exact same day. And that's the thing. I get it's on Game Pass and it won't cost me anything. I may get it on PlayStation.
Well, that would give me the chance to play it.
Because
Portal
my
and-
Series S, I'd be really concerned that it couldn't perform well. So I'll probably get it on PlayStation, to be honest.
So I feel like I'm not gonna hate on Xbox ever, probably, but I feel like they put a lot of those games on Game Pass because they make such bad decisions. Sometimes
Well,
they need people to stay on their side.
The
Yeah,
other
exactly.
question is, too, which I think if I remember right, they may have changed this. But is it first day Game Pass or first day PC Game Pass?
No, it's all the same now.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I thought they changed it, but I wasn't 100%.
Yeah, no, if it's day one Game Pass, it'll hit PC.
It'll hit PC
Once
the
all
same
their
time.
Activision stuff got hashed out,
Yeah.
everything that hits Game Pass day one hits Xbox and PC.
Okay.
Now, if I had a better PC, I'd get it on that probably, but my PC couldn't handle a brand new game like that. But normally, like, I'll bum rush for a Sony showcase, and I'll bum rush for a Nintendo Direct. But Microsoft, I didn't watch it, but as soon as I heard about everything, I, blew through all that.
I didn't kind of want to watch it because I was kind of let down by the Sony one.
No, yeah, Sony has been a little meh here lately. But
I
and-
was
and
like,
the- and the
nobody's
fact-
coming out with anything
Yeah.
really great.
Now, as far as Sony goes, though, they are, I know they're not directly involved. It's Amazon and MGM. They are cooking with this Kratos casting.
Well, it's not even just Kratos. I know it's kind of conflicted, but I like the Lara Croft casting.
Oh, yeah. No. The Lara Croft casting and, both the Tomb Raider TV show and the God of War TV show, they're both being made at Amazon. And I think both lead castings are flawless. Like
Oh, I
Sophie
think
Turner
those-
as Lara Croft.
Oh yeah, she
That
looked,
picture
she looked
looks
Chef's
great
kiss.
Like, it looked
perfect.
great. I agree. I thought it was fantastic.
for because I showed Brittany and she was like, "Is Laura's hair that color?" I was like, "No, but I mean, you can't really tell."
It's like a brownish red.
and
So it's like,
this is supposed to be the younger Laura.
Well, a lot of people got thrown off by the glasses, but they forgot Tomb Raider of our era.
She wore those glasses.
That was her thing.
She didn't wear them all the time in the game, but like when she's traveling somewhere,
and
or
on the
she's
case,
just
I
out
think it
and
was
about.
Tomb Raider 3
that picture almost is a
it's almost a shot
from
for
the
shot.
case.
Yeah, because I mean she's just standing there.
So
with
the
glasses
Kratos casting is by far, I think it's phenomenal.
Well,
and it's not even just Kratos himself. Though.
Oh, exactly. Well,
Like-
that's the thing. Like we have
the
Wayne,
guy they got for Thor.
Yeah.
Oh
That
man,
dude's
well,
awesome.
and Wayne's a big God of War fan. He couldn't be here on this episode, but we've been keeping up with each other in the chat about it. And I will say something that's interesting between Tomb Raider and God of War. Can you tell me the name of any other character in a Tomb Raider game besides Lara Croft? Like at all?
No, I can't. But
Like-
you can talk
Like
about
maybe her butler, from Tomb Raider 2. But
Because like they don't really.
well, what I'm getting at though
They're
is
never
that
like
there's
main characters.
exactly. So there's no other casting announcement for Tomb Raider that's gonna matter unless we really care about the actor. But a character was where God of War,
Had
every
so many.
character is
Yeah.
very and dude,
just
I
like
don't-
getting Mimir.
Oh,
Mimir again.
I'm so glad.
Fantastic.
But see,
Fantastic.
God of War has characters that stay, and they're like, they're
Around.
other gods and stuff like that, so they're important. Lara Croft, she does everything herself. She's rich. She goes where she needs to go.
yeah.
So
for
any
them,
character they get for that, it's gonna be a non-starter because they're not gonna stick around.
yeah,
That's a good point.
Unless they change the story for the show.
Well, and for Tomb Raider specifically, it's just going to be who the actors are.
Yeah.
But God of War, the Thor casting, I haven't seen Severance, but from what I've seen of clips of this guy, perfect casting for Thor.
Oh, dude.
Like,
if
I've seen
you've
a couple
seen some of
clips.
his movies that he's in.
Well, and I mean, from what I've seen, it looks outrageous. And then the Braun or Brock and Sindri casting,
Fantastic.
like I would have, like I'll be honest, I hadn't given it a whole lot of thought, but I was thinking for Sindri, not Brock, because Brock definitely like the guy they got. I think they're both perfect. But I was thinking of Peter Dinklage for Sindri probably would have been okay.
They've gotten away. Dinklage is kind of. They've kind of.
No, I know
he's
he's gotten
He's gotten some heat.
Yeah. But, and then now I will say, I don't know, I'm not familiar with Teresa Palmer that's cast as Sif, and I'm not familiar with the guy who they cast as Heimdall. But Mandy Patinkin as Odin is also great. But I will say what I'm curious of, though, is all this casting, a lot of these characters were not in 2018 that much. They didn't really show up a lot until Ragnarok. So I'm curious what they're doing. But I think they're going to.
I feel like they're going to try to make all the games, or at least try to incorporate all of them.
Yeah, well, it's just the Norse, so it's those two, but they'll probably space them out in multiple seasons.
Yeah, but like, because anybody, that's the problem with stuff like this, though, because we know the origin of Kratos because we've
But they may show
played
like
the games,
while Kratos
so
was
they're gonna
doing
have
this
to, they're
in the
gonna
game.
have to explain it so people
Well, that's
understand.
why when Wayne made that comment, I know like we were talking about it in the thing about the projection and stuff like that for like
Athena,
and I think he made a comment about Zeus. That may be something that you have those characters because, like Scott just said, they're going to go back and show the originating part of it.
They're gonna have to,
They're
even
going to
if it's a
have to make
flashback.
it make people understand. So you may have some of your Roman gods in it too because
They're gonna have
or
to show
Greek
the
and
origin.
Roman,
Because if they
whichever.
don't,
I
then
think it
God
is
of War is not
Roman
going to be
for
God
me.
of War. Because that beginning game of when it started, that's what captured everybody that played it and brought everything to where it is
Right.
now.
Oh yeah.
So if you just started out like now, because Kratos in his prime,
Oh no,
that was
well,
insane.
And that's the thing. I feel like they're setting this like they're going to cover the Norse arc, and then they could pivot back to Greek and do some.
there's a lot. The thing with God of War is where depending on where they start, they could do a lot with God of War.
Yeah.
Like they really could. There's so much content out for God of War. Even if you somehow find a way to do a season on the first game, like we talked about doing flashbacks, but just doing an actual season on it, like fighting Ares and like showing him like if
Now the problem though, from going back to Greek, like this is obviously Norse.
oh yeah,
If they do Greek, they have to recast everything. Like they can't have Ryan Hurst, who's going to play an old, rugged, Kratos. They can't have him
you
play
gotta have
young
a younger
Kratos.
one, yeah.
So they'll have
Yeah.
to do. So the idea of them touching Greek will be a while, unless
I feel like that's why they're going to do flashbacks.
Well, so if they do flashbacks and they may be casting preemptively, we don't know, but no,
Or
a lot
they'll
of-
have one of those episodes where it's like somebody sitting there telling somebody the story of Kratos
yeah, exactly.
to bring everybody up to speed.
But-
Right, but no, yeah, lots of, and there's always going to be new gaming news, but I think those two castings in the Xbox event so far this quarter, has been a
part.
lot. I mean, we're probably going to get Nintendo Directs and PlayStation stuff at some point, but that's kind of the big
we
thing.
talked about 30th anniversary of Pokemon. You're going to get something with that.
Oh yes, and that should be coming up, or if it hasn't,
It
we got to
should
keep
be
up
coming
on
up,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just released a bunch of 30th anniversary Pokemon packs
Right, yeah,
and bundles and stuff. So it's got to be coming
Yeah.
up.
So, but
Yeah, let's jump into our other
bonus
side
level.
quest. Yep, so we're going to jump into bonus level. So bonus level today, the whole purpose of bonus level is to talk about other kind of niche items. What's funny is when we did bonus level, we did TCGs, and then we wound up doing a whole episode on it. But today specifically is just kind of talking around board games and just, some of the games that we've played, that we've enjoyed, and then really what we're doing now. I mean, most people, when they hear board games, what are they thinking of?
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Shoots and ladders.
Clue. Shoots and ladders. Candyland.
Risk.
Life.
Risk. I mean,
Risk.
there's a lot of people that like that game.
I mean, and those are all great games. Like, without a doubt, we've all played them. Like,
Yeah.
we've played some Risk, and they did themed Risk. Like, I've got that Metal Gear Solid Risk at the house, which is off Metal
I've
Gear
got
Solid 4.
Fallout, Monopoly's one that they do a ton of. I have Fallout Monopoly.
Yeah,
in
no,
there.
I see it over there, Fallout Monopoly.
The Halo Risk.
The Halo Risk, which was like Halo Wars themed. But, there's a whole other dynamic.
Dude, we've talked about so, and that's the thing too. Like we talked about the competitive nature, obviously, like that I have. Wayne has. Scott's competitive, like whatever. Originally, board games were all you're playing against each other.
Oh yeah, all of them.
They've moved so far. Like a lot of the games now are co-op board games.
Cooperative.
Yeah,
You're
so people-
playing against the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these are people who are like my
Betrayal-
kind of people.
Betrayal. Well, we played Metal Gear.
Yeah, that Metal Gear board game by Come On Games. First off, that's also when I decided to paint minis. Not paint, because I can't paint, but I got these markers that Howie told me about that were really cool. But the Metal Gear Come On board game, like, you are playing the lore of the first Metal Gear Solid game. Or you have when we played it, we did the VR mission. So it's cooperatively against the character.
Yeah, so all Chase did was play and it's not him. He doesn't make decisions for him or anything like that. They just kind of do their own. He just plays their character. And then me, Scott, and Wayne played through. We played through an entire mission of getting. It was.
Yeah, one of us was Otacon and had to go and do
That was
something.
you, wasn't it?
That was me.
Yeah,
He was
Meryl,
Otacon.
Meryl had to go do something.
Because we randomly selected.
Yeah,
I think
each one had their
I
own
ended up with.
objective.
I ended up with.
Oh, you had Did you have Gray Fox? Or did you have Gray Fox and you
No,
had
no,
Otacon?
I had Otacon.
No, I had. I don't know his name. It was a different snake.
You were jumping around.
It was a different
trying
snake.
to silent kill people.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, but no, it very much like, and that's just one example. Like there's a TMNT board game.
We still haven't got rolling.
We
on
haven't
that,
gotten around to
but
playing
we're-
it,
we
but
need to play it.
It's cooperative.
And then we talk about what was is it Betrayal on House of the Hill where you play the game and it's cooperative for the big
starts
portion
out
of the game,
cooperative.
and then all of a sudden somebody turns bad.
No, those games, like, to me,
Those are wild.
those games are nuts because you've got 20 or 30 scenarios.
Yeah.
You play it, you play it normally, and then you get to a certain point, and it's based on like what room you're in, and then you review a scenario. Now, if you play with somebody who's played the game 50 times and they know every scenario, it does not make it enjoyable.
No, it doesn't.
But the average person is not going to experience all of those scenarios.
Yeah.
But they have a version of that. I think I told you this.
The
'cause you
Scooby-Doo
got-
one.
There's the Scooby-Doo
We
one.
looked at it, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing that we've really gotten into here lately, and you could argue it's not a board game, but deck builders. Like deck building games, we have been grinding.
The
this
DC deck building game, that's phenomenal.
I mean, I would class
They're still
board
board
game.
games.
I would class board game as a tabletop.
Yeah.
So card builders are a tabletop. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's all.
Well, and we
the
have
villain-
we have a new one that we won't be playing for a little while, but they did come out with a Game of Thrones deck building game
Yeah,
that we now have.
And I own. You can ask Scott. Or
Oh man,
the
how many?
Villainous.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3,
Oh, man.
4,
The whole
5,
set.
6, 7, 8,
If
9,
you know
10,
what
11,
Villainous
12,
is.
13,
remember, I'm missing one.
Oh, I thought it was being.
There's
on
like
the way.
19
No,
boxes.
I can't find. I don't. Gaston's so.
Oh yeah,
remember?
Gaston's.
But
I'll
I did.
find
I
it.
did a no.
I'll find
So I found it, but they wanted $90 for it,
Oh.
and I was like, "Your average expansion's
Yeah, and we're talking about Villainous.
the Villainous." So there's Disney Villainous, and there's Star Wars Villainous, which is obviously over the same subtype, but you have Marvel Villainous. So I have every expansion
in every base
and
game.
every base game for it, except for one for Disney, and it's the Gaston for Disney. It's the only one I'm missing.
Yeah, in that game, we did a live stream of us playing that, and it's really cool. And the fact that there's 19 boxes total, and each box has anywhere from 2 to 4 villains.
There's only 2 boxes that only have one. It's Oogie Boogie for Disney, and it's Venom for Marvel.
If you ever play it, make sure you play Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
Scott did play Oogie Boogie, and actually we got himself.
I was did I win that one?
No, I won that one.
No,
because I was lucky enough to get the tub back.
I can't. No, I thought. He won it.
I think I got that
because we got rid of it.
No, he almost got it, and then I had that one card that got rid of his treasure, and he couldn't win.
Oh,
and then you were close, and you would have won if I wouldn't have got the tub on that draw.
Yeah. It was very one sided, like the whole game, and then in the clutch,
he got, like,
we were
down to the
all
throat.
like super close.
Yeah, we got from where and no one was even remotely close, and then everybody
Chase
got
gave
really
up like
close.
right at the beginning. He's like, I'm not gonna get this, and then he was like closest to winning.
Yeah.
Well, we found out from playing it, like each deck you have to kind of learn how it plays because the thing is, the thing about games like that, the deck builder, you can play those games 100 times, and like we were talking about Betrayal House on the Hill, where it's you play it 100 times, you're gonna know.
Eventually,
you're gonna know,
how to do it.
Look, this is where we're ending. This is probably what's gonna happen. You don't do that with this,
No,
because
It's random.
it's all about what you draw. It's all about how they fate you. It's all about how
who's going to screw you over and what
who's
you're
going to
drawing.
screw you over. Who's going to do this?
And for me personally, like it's not like we're playing these games every day, every week. I played not Davy Jones. Yes, it was Davy Jones.
You played
I
Davy
keep wanting to
Jones.
say Barbosa, but I was playing Davy Jones. If I played Davy Jones again next time we played, I'm not going to remember. So I mean, there's so many variations of it. And it's Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. So
and they're still coming out with them. Like that's the thing. Like,
and it's still ongoing. And I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, outside of those, like the deck builders, like the DC deck builder, we're going to try the Game of Thrones one. But there's an Attack on Titan deck builder that's really insane. I have a Marvel deck builder, but I still haven't played it.
It just dawned on me. I did misremember it. He did win with Barbosa because we gave him so much crap. I won the Star Wars one. We played again.
no, I thought he won with Darth Vader with Star Wars.
I was Darth Vader.
He was Darth Vader. Yeah.
Oh,
he
did win.
Because I got
so
Palpatine over there. He won with Barbosa.
David
Now he's
Jones.
got me doing it.
Yeah, David Jones.
But no, yeah, because remember, we gave him so much shit because we were like, oh, this guy sucks. I can't win with it.
Yeah.
And then, we gave him shit for 30 minutes.
Yeah, because remember, I was playing with Moff Gideon trying to capture Grogu.
Because we thought we stopped him. And then he was able to get the...
Yeah, no, because remember, he had everything in position, and
You got the Kraken over.
No, because that's the one that I was going to win next time.
Yeah, you
because
were
I
gonna
had
win.
just got my thing, and I had the card to do it.
And I had just got
I
the
needed
tub.
one more turn.
So if he didn't win that game, one of us was winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was, I mean, so that game's outstanding. The deck builders are a lot of fun.
Pandemic
But
is
the
fun.
thing about the
Pandemic? I forgot all
Pandemic,
about
that's a team-based one. We play that all the time.
Pandemic
we
is
used to-
co-op. Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert.
Somebody actually
are also,
ordered a card from me. They wanted a custom card, and they were like,
Was
can
it-
you do this? And it was the scientist, and on the back it was a pandemic. I was like, oh, me and my buddies play that.
Oh, dude, I love
That
Pandemic.
It was pretty cool.
No, I was super salty. I have Pandemic on Steam, and I was going to get it on the Switch. Like, I was itching to play it.
Is it all single player, or do you join in with other people?
No, it's just all single player.
Okay.
And so I was itching to play it, but I didn't have a Steam Deck at the time, and I knew I wanted to play it portable. I said, you know what? That's on the eShop. I'll get it on the Switch. That's a perfect game to play. They had taken it off the eShop like a week before I got that itch.
really?
So you can't get it on and you can't get it on anything. If you purchased
that
it,
sucks.
If you purchased it, you still have it, but you can't maintain it.
random, but like speaking of board games, you have the tabletop simulator, right?
Yeah.
That game is fantastic.
Yeah, Tabletop Simulator on Steam. I've messed with it a couple times.
Well, I mentioned it to you guys because I was like, if we can't make it out for board game day, let's all just get
Oh, yeah,
that
no,
and jump
no.
on
Well,
and play.
I've had it.
Yeah,
for a
the
long
mechanics
time.
on it are
I've
kind
had it for a
of...
while.
It is a little weird,
And
but
that's where I struggle with it. But, I feel like talking about board games, though, there's one thing. I mean, again, it's tabletop, but there is this... I haven't played it in probably 10 years, but Munchkins...
Munchkins is great.
Dude,
Y'all had stories.
Munchkins is also a competitive game. Like, I pretty much enjoy co-op related stuff, but
It's
it was...
over
do
competitive.
they still
Oh my
make
gosh.
that game?
They do.
Oh, yeah.
There's some new expansions coming out?
Munchkins is a card game, and it's basically all about like screwing everybody. Like we played, I'll never forget. We were playing a round of Munchkins. I think it was when I was living at Quentin's.
Yep.
We started playing at like 8 p.m.
We played it on your Star Wars table.
Yeah, and that's right. Quentin was really big into X-Wing
Into the
at the
X-Wing,
time
yeah.
and had made a space table and for playing X-Wing. Yeah. It was outstanding. And I don't know if you've ever been in
the fighters.
X-Wing's a great game, by the way.
A little bit of goo.
But no, we started playing at 8. Howie had to leave for work at like 3. And
Because you were stocking at Best Buy, right?
I had to go help do the truck.
Yeah.
And I did a full shift though.
yeah, but we were still playing. He left for work, worked until like 11 or something like that. I think he went to work at 1 and got off at 8.
Yeah, it was something
Or
like
got
that.
off at 9 because you worked a full shift.
Yeah.
So we started playing at 8.
I
He
was
left
dead
at
tired.
1 to go to work. Came back. We were still going, and we didn't finish this game for like another 3 hours.
Who was it? You, Muscleman,
It was
Rob?
me,
Oh, man,
Muscleman,
it was
Quentin,
so many
Rob,
people.
and Howie. I think
Because they dealt me back in, and then I came and I killed somebody.
well,
and they had
because
to
we
restart.
set all his stuff aside when he left, and we made the joke like if we're still playing when he come back, it's like there's no way, And so we set all the stuff, and we dealt you back in because all your stuff was still.
Because I had technically
But it
died
was
right
an
before I left.
Yeah, because that's the thing in the game. You could die and just restart.
You just lose all your stuff and you restart.
because it was. But that game was insane. I mean, and then tabletop games like I didn't write it down on the list here, but Cards Against Humanity.
That's
That's
wild.
the group setting.
I
one, it's
will. That game is so foul that I love it.
It's great.
And the fact they now have Cards Against Disney, Cards Against this, Cards
The only
Against
hard
that.
part about
I
that
have
game
a
is
card.
like you got to know the people you're playing with to get the humor in
Yes,
it. To get your points.
I've made the mistake.
like doing it with us.
We'd be fine.
Yeah.
I've played it with people who I didn't know that well, and it did not go well because, like, I thought something really dark was really funny, and they got really offended.
We don't get offended very easy, so it's
No.
kind of
So it was absolutely great. Board games in general, when you think about everything we've talked about over the last 16 episodes, all the different nerdy fandom things, games and anime and movies and TV and card games and D&D, board games just kind of fall into the same niche of, the things that we enjoy.
To be honest, though, like we've played a lot more board games recently because it's something you can do, any day of the week. Like you
Right.
just get a couple of us together. You
spend
can,
a couple
and,
hours.
and it can be fast paced because
If we know how to play the game, it can be fast paced. But we have so many games we have to learn.
There's a board game I want to buy and play with you guys. It's I played it with a few buddies from work. They just wanted to have like a cookout, and I went over there. It's a pirate game where you're a captain of a ship, and you get like a certain amount of flags, and you have to go around. And I forget what you have to do to get points. But if somebody comes within range of you, you can start having naval battles. And then they start losing flags
but,
of like
but
life.
that's the competitive.
And when you
talked
sink
about.
them,
Now, don't get me wrong. We still play competitive games.
I'll play competitive. There's no doubt. But we have so many co-op games that we have like to learn.
The Ninja Turtles one's the one that I really
Ninja
want us to
Turtles?
play, but we're trying.
Oh,
we
I
gotta
had
get
that
all
Halo
of those.
game too.
Yeah, but the Ninja Turtles makes more.
I love
Oh,
the
agreed.
co-op ones.
Yeah, well, but that one's one we're trying to get all 4 of us together before we really learn to play it and play.
The co-op ones are fun
So
though.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So, well, I think that's going to wrap up both our side quests. So we can go ahead and jump into our.
save point.
All right. Well, 17th episode down. Had Howie here to hang out with us yet again.
Hey.
And we went through and talked about multi-disc games, a little bit of JRPG nostalgia.
Definitely Howie's forefront outside of the anime section. So
Oh man, anime, multi-disc games, love it.
And that's the thing I don't think we really talked about. Not that it matters, but there's so many of those JRPGs that wound up getting like OVAs. And so I know you brought up the Tales of Vesperia one had an anime.
Vesperia and I want to say Symphonia had one.
Yeah.
And the battle scene in that is like
Dude,
the
they're
modern
nuts.
day anime.
Yeah.
And it was insane.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. And thinking back to those games, like I said, I mean, it was a staple for me. And I'm glad that people are starting to find them now, with some of them getting modernized, either via remasters or full-blown remakes, But yeah, so it was a really, really good time. Thank you all again.
like we always say, thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. After this week, I think we're going to go back to just a couple with just me and Chase.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to jump back to the duo method. Don't have our next episode mapped out quite yet as far as what content we're going to do. We do this general kind of rotation of like game-centric, anime-centric, other stuff-centric, and then maybe back to GameStop. So we may go back to a GameStop-centric topic. But, you can follow, subscribe, reach out
Let
to
us
the
know
email.
what you want us to do.
Yeah.
If you start missing me and Wayne, just come into the Discord and say hey.
That's right. We did set up the Discord a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we got that. So that's the best way that I think if you want to communicate it with us, that's one of the ways to do it, for sure. Because all of us can check that pretty regularly.
Absolutely, yeah. The Discord will be the easiest. You got the email address too, the midnightreleasepod@gmail.com. And, let us know what you want us to get into. Like I said, I don't have anything mapped out quite yet for next week. That doesn't mean there's not going to be one.
There will definitely be one.
Yeah, there will definitely be one. I just got to sit down and get it all lined out. But thank you 1,000 times. Howie, thanks for coming to hang out and chat with us for a little while.
It's always fun.
Yeah, always a good time. I also didn't get any shit today, so that's good. I can't remember if I mentioned 1998, so for the purposes of the friend that's drinking to this.
You did it once.
You
But
did at the start.
That's not just once isn't enough.
Yeah, 1998, Metal Gear Solid 2-disc game that's relevant to our topic came out, so I mentioned 1998 again. There you go. All right, anything else to wrap up the save point?
No, I don't really have anything.
I think it's pretty wrapped.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. So
Sounds good. Well, as always, remember that some memories are worth lining up for. We'll see y'all.